Let's get ready to rumble.
Here we go, episode 90 plus 2 of the Hibs Ramble. We're back for a special one. We were going to take a break for the summer, but we did say that we'd be back on the announcement of a Hibs manager / head coach, and we've got one. Before we get into it, Liam and Mark joining me this afternoon. How are we, boys? All good?
Very good, mate. How are you?
All good, mate. All good.
Yeah, I'm good. Made better, I think, by the news that I think we all knew was coming, but we were just kind of waiting for the club to confirm it. So it's David Gray has went from player to captain to coach to now head coach. Signing a 3-year deal with his backroom staff to be announced in due course. Liam, what was your immediate? I know we've kind of been speaking about it quite regularly in the group chat about it, but what was your thoughts now it's been confirmed that David Gray's now in charge?
I was pretty chuffed, to be honest with you. I think as the weeks moved on, David Gray was becoming. It's not that I was getting more comfortable with the fact David Gray was likely going to get the job. I think I was then becoming more. I was having more of a realization that the job is probably best suited to David Gray at this moment in time. You know, he knows the building, he knows the players. I don't think it's going to be a clean slate situation in terms of some of the players. I think he'll already know who needs to move on and stuff like that. So I think it's probably the most logical decision that the club could have made. It's not. Some people I don't think would think it was the sexy option, but at this moment in time, I don't think that a left field foreign option, someone who doesn't really know the club, someone who's going to give the players a clean slate, would have been the perfect choice to go to at this moment in time. So I'm chuffed that it's Gray. I'm glad that he's getting a chance at Hibs. Seen people going, "Oh, he should have went and got experience elsewhere before he came and managed Hibs." But I don't really agree with that. I don't really think that that's relevant. So I'm chuffed. That's my overriding feeling.
Yeah, Mark, Malcolm Mackay said on the statement that following a robust recruitment process, David has emerged as our preferred candidate and we're delighted to have him on board. There's been sort of talk that he is the cheap option, it's the easy option. I'm very much of the opinion that, like Liam said, there's been folks saying, oh, he needs to go elsewhere and sort of earn his stripes and whatnot. But for me, the only place that he can show that he deserves to be the Hibs head coach / manager is being appointed the Hibs head coach / manager. Liam said about no, so really like the sexy option, you know, there was talk of guys like Ronnie Dyler. I think pretty much most people that I know were on the Derek McInnes train until that very quickly fucking stormed at the station with him not on board. So are you going along the sort of similar lines with Liam that you think it's the right time for David Gray to take the reins?
Yeah, I'm delighted. I'm delighted that he's been given the job. I'm delighted for him as well. There's not many people that can say they've played, captained, coached, and now managed the same club. I think he's now that Hanlon and Stevenson are away. I think he's the longest serving Hibs member of staff. I believe, is that right? So yeah, I'm delighted for him, and I think there's obviously going to be other options. I think the McInnes, sort of Robinson, fans would say that they've got more experience of Scottish football in terms of managing clubs and managing at a high level. And then, of course, you've got guys like Ronnie Daly who've got a real pedigree in European football and obviously had a stint at Celtic. But for me, there's nobody better suited to the role. Nobody understands and knows the club as much as David Gray. There's not a single person out there that would understand and know the club as much as him. He's obviously now got experience of a few different managers with different styles. So he's also played under guys like Neil Lennon and Stubbs and played at, Man United and things like that. So I think it's the right time to give him a chance. I also, I trust him. The fact that, in previous times when there's been talk of him getting the job, he's kind of shied away from it and said he's maybe not quite ready. The fact that he's now come forward and said, I'm ready, I want it now, this is the right time. I trust that he is ready. And I also think, the respect that he'll have, like I said, he's been there for so long. All the players will have so much respect for him, given that he's a Hibs legend. So yeah, I think he's the right man for the job. I'm not saying he's going to work miracles and he's going to get us winning the Scottish Cup and finishing third in the first season, but I think he'll steady the ship, and I think we can make progress for here.
I think the main thing though, right, is that he's been here through a lot of the poor times, but he's also been here with, in our lifetime anyway, the best times that we've had. So he knows what it takes to achieve that success, and he's obviously witnessed, Lennon and Stubbs coming in and being a success and winning us trophies. He's experienced that as a player, so he'll know what a Hibs team needs to get back to those kind of more successful days. And I'm just, fingers and toes crossed that he's got the minerals to put it into action.
Well, he did say that. I mean, I think he's on holiday at the minute, so we'll probably not get the actual sit down interview with him until he's back. But he said it's a real privilege for me to become the head coach of this great football club. Everyone knows how much Hibs means to me. It's a massive club with a phenomenal fan base that I know very well. So to be given this opportunity is a true honour. From being here as a player and a coach for over 10 years, I know what a successful Hibs team looks like, and I'm determined to succeed and take our club forward. I mean,
I love him, man.
a lot of the stuff you get in these statements can be attributed to birthday care pish. Do you know what I mean? They say the right thing. He's not going to come in and say, "Oh, I've been given a job because I'm next in line." Blah blah blah. I do think what you both have said kind of hits the nail on the head for me. I don't think, as daft as this might sound, I don't think there's a better time for Gray to be given the opportunity to lead the club than it is now.
Agreed.
I mean, you can almost look at it as a reset. And the last time we had a reset was when we got relegated in 2014. And then you look at the romantic nature of it and who was the first player signing to kick off that new era, and it was David Gray under Stubbs. A lot of the chat's been about his backroom staff. I know this is just secondhand sort of browsing on the forums, etc. But so obviously earlier on in the statement it says that his backroom staff will be confirmed in due course. I know there's talk of him wanting John Doolan to come in, excuse me, as his assistant with Liam Craig and Craig Sampson. So you're looking at a coach who's already won the Scot, been part of a successful team, and then two former Hibs captains. Obviously, it could be, you could even look further afield to guys like Darren McGregor. Boozy's obviously.
And Samson's obviously, he's worked with us before as well. So
yeah, so you're looking at a coaching staff that is, when people say that they want experience in the Scottish leagues, I know they've not necessarily managed in the Premiership, but they've all got extensive experience in Scottish football. Liam Craig's obviously played for the club, played for St Johnstone for a number of years as well. It's what I think needs to be abundantly clear, and we say this with every coach/manager we get, but he needs time.
I think especially with Gray, and I think that he'll get more time as a manager than someone who's a complete outsider would get because of who he is and what he's done and how long he's been at the club. I think naturally, maybe subconsciously, the fans will give him a wee bit more leeway, a little bit more of an opportunity to not to fail, but to kind of test things out and be a little bit more patient with them. And I think we all say, "Oh, manager needs time." Monty needed time. Johnson needed time. Maloney needed time. I think it will actually happen with Dave Gray, because it's not like we're under brand new ownership from top to bottom who doesn't know what David Gray has done for Hibs and what Hibs means to David Gray. I think he will be given time. I think he's got that respect already from everyone at the club.
I think it'll be. I think the pressure will be on him straight away. Unlike a lot of managers that we've had, I think guys like Monty that have come in, pretty much the entire fan base were saying, "Oh, he's the right guy. He's going to lead us forward." It wasn't until a few months in that he started getting questions. Lee Johnson, there was some questions, but again, it took a bit of time. I think there seems to be a population of Hibs fans that have got it in their head that David Gray's part of the blame for the last few years.
Yeah.
And there's this unbelievable myth that he was a defensive coach. There's this myth that, you know, all the defensive frailties in the last couple of years are his fault, and as if David Gray, a coach, is going to have any impact on the team being picked, the tactics and stuff. He'll help it with training and all that. He'll help it with coaching, but he is not to blame for the last couple of years. But for some reason, Hibs fans have got it in their head that he is. So I
It's the
think
same with, like,
I think because he's been the constant, though, isn't it? So
but it's the
exactly.
same in any line of work. Like, we all know in our jobs, like, if our manager gives us a task to do, we do it. Same as if
No,
we were the manager ourselves, like, you wouldn't want your authority being questioned by somebody who's a subordinate, effectively. So I think it's important to get that out. Mark, what do you, in terms of when David Gray gets into his office on his first day as head coach, what would you say is the number one task at the top of his list that he needs to sort of, because I mean, you look at it, we've got, we're going to need, effectively the spine of the team is gone in terms of Stevenson, Hanlon, and we believe David Marshall. Obviously, the club haven't came out and confirmed the sort of released / retained list. You've got X amount of loan players coming back. You've got youth players knocking on the door. You've even got something like the appointment of a new captain. So for you, what's the number one list? Number one at the top of David Gray's list when he starts his first day as official head coach.
I think recruitment, definitely, and I think this is one of the benefits of getting David Gray in, is he doesn't have to worry about getting to know the players or getting to know the squad that he's got, because he's been there before. He doesn't have to go in on day one and get to know everyone and be everyone's pal and have one-to-one meetings with everyone and all that. And I think as a player, they must be delighted, because the last few years, how unstable it's been, how many managers we went through, the fact that the one constant is now the head coach, they must be like really happy. So I think he can get straight to the important things, which is recruitment. I think that's the number one thing that we would all agree with. Like you've just mentioned, we need a spine of the team. We, with or without Marshall staying, we need a goalie, we need a centre half. Will Fish is away, Paul Hanlon's away, so we're going to have a really, really busy summer, maybe in and out. So I think him, along with Malky Mackay and Brian McDermott and all that, they're going to have a lot of things, and we just hope that that investment that's been made, we make use of it and we start spending money, and we don't kind of go with the cheaper options, so to speak, and try and get players on loans and frees and stuff like that. We start actually, we do some good business. So that's the one benefit, I think. You won't have to come in and worry about getting to know and getting to know everyone. Focus on recruitment, focus on what your sort of, how you want the club to operate, the tactics, all that kind of stuff. So straight down to business for him.
I think as well, he doesn't need to get to know anyone, and he doesn't need to get to know the DNA of the club. Like you say, he's been around the club for 10 years. So he can, I think if he's got the final say on signing off on whether a player comes in or not, he'll know if they'll fit into the DNA of the club, if they'll fit into, the camaraderie in the dressing room. So I think we've kind of bypassed all that pish that you need to go through with a new manager who's got, little or no experience with the club. When you look at even someone like Jack Ross, who knows what Hibs is all about and knows how big a club Hibs is, still need to get to know the club from inside out. Whereas David Gray's been doing that for the last decade. So we don't need to go through this this start period where you kind of like you don't know whether to doubt them or not. But I think it is the best. It's the best appointment that we could have made from the names that were available.
Yeah, and I think one thing we need to be cautious of is this. Everybody's excited about the Black Knights getting involved, but it's rumoured that missing out in the top 6 last season cost us in the region of at least 1.5 million. So,
Well, you had money, I'll recoup that.
Well, that's the thing. Like that's something else you need to consider. Obviously, that's the recruitment team's been given a lot of flack, but turning a 700 grand purchase into a 2.5 grand sale within 12 months is
that's a bit pish. 700 grand to 2.5 grand.
2.5 mil. Did I not say 2.5 mil?
You said 2.5 grand.
Oh, I meant 2.5 mil. Wow, 700 grand to 2.5 grand. Fuck me, that'd be an absolute disaster.
That means they deserve all the abuse they get.
For one thing that would be exciting to see is Liam, what a David Gray Hibs team looks like, because obviously when he's filled in after Jack Ross, Maloney, Johnson, and now Montgomery, it's kind of been keeping it simple. I mean, you think back to when he took over, when we played Celtic in the cup final, we set up nigh on exactly how Jack Ross would set up.
Yeah, I
When
think there's
he
always going to be a bit of a hangover, though, isn't there?
no, but that's what I mean. So for you, what do you think a David Gray Hibs team would look like? I mean, if you consider what kind of player he was, do you think that'll be reflected in his team? Like, not to diminish his, because technically he wasn't the greatest, but he was someone who worked his bollocks off, gave 100% every time he stepped on the
I
park.
genuinely thought he was a really good player, going forward and coming back.
Aye, but when you like, I'm talking like if you compare him as a fullback to say, I don't know, Stephen Whittaker. Technically, Whittaker was a better player, but in terms of effort, commitment, dedication, Gray, I don't think in the last 20 years or whatever, the 20, 30 years of following Hibs, that there's been a more dedicated in terms of the way that he played. Do you know what I mean? So are we going to see a team full of hard-working players who are maybe limited in their capabilities, or do you think that now he's actually fully in charge, we'll get to see maybe something a bit more expansive, when you look at the sort of managers he's learned under in the last 10 years?
I'd like to say that would be nice and expansive and playing all this beautiful football, but where's that gotten us for the last 3 managers that we've had who've come in and said that they're going to play X, Y, and Z, and it's ended up falling flat on its face?
Yeah.
I think first and foremost, you've got to get the players on board and, getting them to give 110%, which I think they will for David Gray, because, every time anyone's speaking about him, in the press or interviews or anything like that, all they've got to say is praise and nice things about him. So I think they'll already run through brick walls for him. Like I said earlier on, he's not going to have to earn the respect from zero. So there's already going to be like a yeah. But I don't know. I think time will tell. Obviously, the times that he's had as a caretaker, it's been hangover from the previous managers, and kind of using, surfing a wee bit on their tactics. So it'll be interesting to see what system he wants to play, stuff like that. I wouldn't mind to see a nice attacking wing right back, back on the pitch again, like how Dave Gray used to be. But no, time will tell, I suppose.
I think that's what we'll see. I think it'll be a lot of overlapping fullbacks, a lot of driving into the box, a lot of play down the wing and crosses in and stuff like that. But I think the first thing is just get it back to basics. Get
Absolutely.
this control possession pish to fuck. This is a part of the reason why I hate Pep Guardiola, because he's ruined football. You've got clubs like Hibs and bloody Morecambe and all that trying to play fucking tiki taka in the lower leagues of England and in the fucking Scottish league and that. It's a load of pish. Unless you're the best player, you've got the best players in the world, it doesn't work. And I've
It
said
doesn't
that for
even look
ages.
good either.
And it's
Yeah,
boring.
it's
Even
very
Man
boring now.
City. Nobody cares about Man City because they're fucking boring. They're the most
That's right.
boring team in the world. They could win 9-0 in a game and it would still be boring.
I know.
Honestly, I hate watching that football. Just people passing it about the pitch, and then in moments drive forward when there's a gap. It's effective, but it's fucking shite. So get back to basics, like sort the defence out. I'm not expecting like amazing football for the first season, but just grind out results, sort the defence out, and then maybe we can start to be a bit more expansive. But I'm just glad, and I hope this is proven that it does not work when you've not got good players. When you're not at a proper elite level of football. I don't want a Sean Maloney or a Nick Montgomery again. Just simple football. That's what we want.
Well, I never actually thought I would hear you say I don't want a Sean Maloney again.
Well, aye, just this passing it about and that. All that happens is the defenders end up passing it about because they've not got any other options, and it is just mind-numbingly boring. I'm not saying I want pure Brexit Route 1 football, but just something in
Just a
between.
bit simpler.
Something in between Tiki Taka and Route 1.
I think it'll be interesting to see, like, obviously now that he's confirmed Like, obviously, all it's been for weeks is, oh, when are we getting a manager? When are we getting a manager? Now that Gray's been appointed, oh, when are we signing folk? Who are we getting in?
I seen there was comments underneath the signing, the announcement being like, "Aye, that's good, but sign somebody." I'm like, fucking hell.
It's one of them, and obviously the signings will come, but I think that obviously when we get back into the nitty gritty of the season starting, we'll go in a bit more depth with Gray once we've got a few signings in the door. Obviously, the League Cup campaign starts on the 13th of July, I think, away to Elgin. Also, I think there's supposed to be rumours of some sort of friendly in Holland, maybe early July. So when the pre-season schedule sort of gets announced and the players get back, we'll maybe pick it up for there. But another bit of news that broke with the club today was that there's been additional investment into the football club. So this is out with fuck me, the Black Knight Football Group investment that was approved back in February. So shareholders Leslie Robb, HSL, Hibernian Sports Limited, and Baidan Sports, which is the vehicle that the Gordons used to operate / purchase the club, have all increased their respective shareholdings by subscribing for additional shares in the capital of the football club with the approval and support of the Black Knight Football Group. Now, this will need to be made public on Companies House at some point. I'm not exactly sure when, but reading between the lines, that to me is that the Black Knight Group have actually had their shareholding diluted for increased investment for the other three parties, which you could look at a couple of ways. Obviously, they fought like fuck to get the 25% initially. So what this could mean is that it actually gives them scope to invest further in the future to take them back up to that 25%. So I don't know if either of you have really got, Liam, you're a bit daft, so I don't know if you really fully understand exactly what's happened.
I was going to say to you, explain it to me like I'm like a 5-year-old, because I really don't
Like
get
a
it.
5-year-old,
I just
so
tried to look at the article there, and
so
it was
basically
like,
you've bought a packet of sweets for £1. I've given you 50p for some of the sweets, not all of the sweets, but then I've given you some of the sweets back. That means I could then come back to you later on and buy a wee bit more of the sweets, but you would still have overall control of the packet of sweets, I think.
still doesn't make an awful lot of sense to me.
So but that's, I mean, I suppose it's good. It shows that there's more money coming in, which could be to cover the shortfall, like I said, about missing out on last season. But to me, it's a good thing if people are wanting to invest in the club even before they're put. I'm sure these guys knew that Gray was going to get the job anyway, but the fact that they're still willing to put their money in when Gray's getting the job is a good sign. So we'll just need to wait and see how it looks with the transfer window and how that goes. I think he's first. Obviously, you go back to Stubbs, and Stubbs' first signing was telling that was him. Even going back to guys like when you look at Mowbray, one of Mowbray's first signings was Boozy and David Murphy. I can't be arsed thinking about who anybody else signed. I think
Who was Nick
Lennon's.
Montgomery's first signing? Was that Nectar?
No, that was his last signing, wasn't it?
Was it?
But one of
his
his
first.
then,
His first signing was Marcondes, I think.
one of his first acts was to bring back Jair Tavares, so might not have been his first signing. So we'll just wait and see how it all unfolds. But I think we're all equally delighted that Gray's been appointed. And obviously, personally, I don't think I've ever wanted a Hibs manager / head coach to be more successful than David Gray, because if he's successful, we'll be successful. And I can't be arsed by all the fucking I told you so's that are desperate for it to fail, purely so they can just say, well, we told you, and then we'll fucking appoint Ian Murray in 8 months' time. Can't be arsed with that. So all the best, David Gray. We're all behind you. Before you make a shite signing or we'll have a shite result, and I fully expect to be throwing my toys right out the pram.
Come back to this in a year when we're going, get fucking Gray, man. His tactics are useless. Get him to fuck.
He's only here because he scored that goal in the cup final. Fucking hell. Nah,
I don't think I could have. I couldn't have coped with Stevenson leaving, Hanlon leaving, and then if a new manager came in and decided that Gray wasn't for him, I don't think I could have coped with 3 of them leaving.
Yeah, I think it'll be like the way it'll work out. It remains to be seen. Obviously, it'll be there's folk that will be sceptical, and I think they've got every right to be sceptical given how shite it's been the last few years. What I would say is that if this does go shite with Gray, it'll then be at the point where they start looking above him even more. Obviously,
Yeah.
the board and whatnot have been criticised in the past, but the gonads on them to go and appoint Malcolm Mackay, he'll get it. The Kensal will get it. The Gordons will get it. So it's almost a no lose for me for David Gray, and that if it does go wrong, they'll be looking above him. But it's not going to go wrong. It's going to go great because David Gray is the
David Gray's Green White Army.
yeah, exactly. Questions that we got on it. John McIntosh, what is he having as a celebration dinner?
Well, where is he on holiday?
He's in Florida, is he not?
Oh, Florida. Maybe, I don't know. What did they have in Florida? Something
Alligator.
Cuban, maybe a Cuban sandwich?
Cuban sandwich.
A
Nah,
Reuben,
David-
a Reuben,
David
sorry, a
Grace-
Reuben.
Gray strikes me as a ribeye rare kind of
Does
guy.
he know like eat loads of barbecue down that end of the world?
Florida, maybe in like Texas and that, but Florida, maybe, aye. Aye, do they know like crawfish and shit?
Aye.
Nah, he'll be having something normally. He'll be in some posh restaurant.
He'll
Eat,
have
like,
he'll,
drinks
Ken
and
what
having
he'll
a
have?
steak.
He'll have like a he just strikes me as such a vanilla guy. Like he'll have something plain. And then
Nah, he'll go out for a big bottle of red wine and a steak the night to celebrate.
Aye, that's it. Steak and a red wine.
then he'll be topless, wandering along the Miami Strip.
Be like, do you know who I am, mate? I'm the manager of Hibs. Be like,
Shouting
who
on
the
Tony
fuck is
Montana.
that?
What's a Hibs, man?
Cabajo762 says, who will he appoint as his backroom staff and what kind of player is a Hibs David Gray player? I think we've already kind of been covered that.
That's McGregor. That's McGregor.
I'd
for
like to see
assistant.
McGregor step up and be part of the staff. I think a lot of it is sentiment as well, though. I mean, I couldn't go, oh, I want him, and him to be part of the backroom staff because at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, it doesn't really matter, does it?
I think we'd be better served leaving McGregor with the 18s purely because if Gray gets punted, then McGregor can just step up.
Here we go.
Is McGregor the new caretaker for the next like 5 years? Whenever we
Again, so we're going to need to get rid of that picture, the go and get David Gray picture.
Aye. No, well, it's not be that'll be fuck it. Let's go and get Eddie May and Gareth Evans at some point.
Will David Gray be the caretaker for when David Gray gets sacked?
I reckon we need to get like fucking Brian McDermott down. Get him managing for you. Make him the caretaker.
Jack Hibbs has said, very happy that Sir David Gray has been given a chance, but with the investment, what should we expect to see in the summer and the coming years? Well, I don't know. I think the investment in the summer, the Black Knight investment was earmarked. Obviously, you can see what they've done with behind the goals. There's supposedly an indoor facility being built out at East Mains in terms of a full-size 11-a-side pitch. Obviously, missing out on top six will have put a severe dent in that, but we don't exactly know how much this investment that's went in today is. So I think we don't know. Like I said, his first signing or two will really sort of give us an indication of what kind of manager Gray's going to be, and also again the appointment of captain, because I think there's only really two players that could take the captaincy just now, which would be Joe Newell or Jordan Obita. So it'll be interesting to see if it goes to one of them or if it's a new player that comes in.
Joe Newell,
Yeah.
surely.
I think if Joe Newell stays, it'll be going to Joe Newell. But I think it all depends then on who we bring in. I think we need to focus on bringing in real quality, because we can bring in as many players as we like, but if they're not any good, then we're back to square one again. I think we just need to not panic. That's all we need to do. Just don't panic.
Yeah.
Identify your targets, which I imagine McDermott and Mackay have been doing. and go after them. Because if we've got the financial backing now, there shouldn't be many other factors stopping us from going out and paying what these teams want for their players.
Aye. But then we need to. I think the more pressing thing is looking at moving on what we've already got.
And I think Gray will have a very, very clear indication in his head about what needs to happen in that regard, because he's been here and I think, I'm not saying that the players have thrown managers under the bus, but if that has been the case, he'll have witnessed that firsthand. And he'll not want those same players, whoever they are, if it's happened, to do the same to him.
I don't
And
think
he'll
they'll be able
know.
to. I don't think they'll be able to throw him under the bus. I think you'll have too much respect from senior players for anyone to throw him under the bus.
Yeah,
But then
I
the
just
issue-
think that he's already got a really, really good idea, surely, of what needs to go and what needs to stay.
Well, that's the thing, though. It'll be interesting to see how he manages that dynamic, for obviously going from being coach, where he's probably well liked, to now he's the one actually making the decisions. So when it comes to somebody like a Joe Newell or Josh Campbell, Jordan Obita, Chris Cadden, or whatever, how he manages that dynamic, does he set his stall out early and get rid of a big hitter as if to say, look, times have changed, this, it's a completely different direction the club's going in. So I
think that the fact that he's not went straight from a playing role to a management role maybe helps him in that regard. That he's already, for the last 3 or 4 years, had that sort of in between player and management level authority over the players. So I think for a long time they'll have not looked up to him, but they'll have respected that he's on a higher level than them. For the, I mean, when was it he retired?
Was it 21 COVID season?
COVID season. So
season, yeah.
there can't be many players that played with him. Joe Newell,
Josh Campbell.
Boyle, Josh Campbell. I don't think there's going to be many that have had him as a teammate. So they will probably already look up to him and respect him as a more authoritative figure.
That's a good way of putting it. Liam Riley has posted live from his Skechers that he feels like the Hibs identity has been missed in the last few appointments. Is there anyone more Hibs to manage the club than Gray? Over 100 appearances, one of the first couple of signings. Well, he was Stubbs' first signing, so there's your first mistake. Winning goal of Scottish Cup, captain Scottish Cup, scored in Europe, captain back to the Premiership. Yeah, I think it's pretty similar to what I said, how the only place he can learn to be the Hibs manager is to be the Hibs manager.
Is there anyone that's Mayor Hibs that could have got it, though? Don't know. Like maybe you or me, Mark, maybe.
But to be fair, we've not got the appearances or scored winning goals in the cup finals or scored in Europe. That's the only thing I'd say.
No, we don't. But we've seen it happen.
Yeah, well, why? We were there for most of them.
And thing is, when we are on watching from the stands, it's basically like being a manager anyway.
Yeah. We know, it's pretty clear that we know our stuff, like we do.
I reckon we probably could have went as a 5 and co-manager times 5. We could have done it.
We could have, but imagine getting booed out of Easter Road. We've already had the toe tapper shite, and we already got grief for that.
Imagine that.
That would be the thing if we got the job. We got the job first game at Ibrox, all eyes on us.
These Rangers sympathists getting the job. Disgusting.
We do well so that we can crawl across the M8 on broken glass to go and manage Rangers.
First game at Ibrox, the camera's just zooming on the feet to see if they're tapping or not. And then finally, last question is from Billy Sterling. How important should it be that he gets an experienced number 2? A lot of talk of Liam Craig or McGregor. For me, I think he needs an old head next to him, similar to how John Collins had Tommy Craig. Well, that didn't really go great in the end for John Collins. But I don't see it being a major factor, if I'm being honest. If the rumour is that he wants John Doolan, I think he's just no longer signed a contract with Accrington Stanley, but who the fuck
are
are
they?
Who are Accrington Stanley?
Who the fuck is John Dooley?
John Doolan, he was Stubbs' assistant.
Stubbs' assistant.
Oh, right.
Helping the helping the cause. If he'd worked for Rangers, you'd have known that.
I didn't ken. I have not got a good memory of Hibs assistants. I couldn't give a fuck about who the assistant is.
This is kind of where I'm at though. I think I trust Gray to have faith in whoever he picks.
Yeah.
And I think having an old head maybe would help. But maybe
I suppose he's got that with Malcolm Mackay though. He's got that.
There's a lot of people. I think as long the main thing for me is if David Gray is happy and comfortable with who he's got as his assistant, then that is the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
As long as it's not Sergio Raimundo.
Gary
The army man. And then Steve McKenzie's came off the back of that. Billy said this 100% has to be an experienced assistant beside him. I think if we never had the structure that we do at the minute with Malcolm Mackay, opinions on Malcolm Mackay are left for another episode. But there is somebody who is in the sporting director who is going to be a sort of set of eyes and ears for David Gray to lean on. But whoever Gray gets to go along beside him, people
I think
trust. Oh, sorry, Gav Dick has said in capital letters, just back Gray enough, and then goes to lowercase for an of the negative. So, Gav's hit me with a curveball there.
Gav is
because the N is
having
also
an argument with his caps lock button, I think.
Yeah, the N on the negative has also been capitalised. So there should have also been a comma, like just back Gray, comma, enough of the negative. Because it's almost saying he's like, we should just back Gray enough. But how much is enough? Gav, come on, mate. Next season, I'm expecting better for you. This has been fucking 2 years of me deciphering your fucking hieroglyphics.
To be fair, I think he is sitting his standard grades next year, so he'll maybe be able to get a foundation in English.
Honestly,
I think he needs an experienced assistant. He needs an experienced care assistant.
Right, on that note, we'll wrap it up. God bless David Gray, the new Hibernian head coach. Liam and Mark, thank you for taking time with your busy schedules
No
to
problem,
join
mate.
me. And we will be back soon. Don't know how soon.
Hopefully when the new strip's out. Get that released next. That's the next thing.
We're not doing a fucking pod for a new strip, surely.
No. But next time we'll be on.
Oh, we could maybe get Sean to do a short and just put it on YouTube. But
yeah, this is the details. It's made of carbon fiber polyester.
But Sean's away to Germany, so we'll be coming back with a wee Berlin twang.
Yeah, the new Hibs kit is very nice. Yeah.
Actually, talking about Germany, I'm buzzing for that. I'm buzzing for the Euros. A good laugh, good time.
We said that about the last one and scored one goal, and we ended up seeing David Marshall getting fucking lobbed 50 yards.
But was it a good time? Yes, it absolutely was.
The best part about it was my 30th that happened during the Euros. That was a good time.
Mm.
But beyond that, no, it wasn't a great time. Right, enjoy your summer, guys. We'll be back in the next few weeks. When pre-season starts, as the Ramble rolls on into 2024-25 with big things coming.
Well, we hope.
Yeah, we hope. On and off the park. Right, lads, enjoy your day. See you in a bit.
See you later. Bye.
Let's get ready to rumble.